Greetings everybody, my name is Tommy and welcome to my channel. Well, today we finally get to that last game in the Master Chief Collection, Halo 4. How did the new Studio 343, named after the monitor of all characters, do in their first game with the Master Chief? Actually, surprisingly well. While the game's not perfect, and it is different from the Bungie one, it's still a really fun first-person shooter. The story was probably kind of hard to do this one. If you think about it, Halo 3 wrapped up 90% of the story. The two supporting characters of Amanda Keyes and Johnson are both dead at the end of Halo 3. The Covenant has been destroyed, the rings are no longer a threat, and the Flood is defeated. The only pesky thing was that the Master Chief was left adrift in space, and that's where the game begins 4 years later, with him still being adrift in space when he and Cortana managed to find a Forerunner planet called Requiem, and due to their incompetence fall for a trap set by a Forerunner called the Didact to release him so he can have revenge on humankind by transforming all of us into digital holograms. The plot itself is kind of meh at best. The Prometheans are cool, but the Didact is just an evil bad guy for the sake of being an evil bad guy. And why are we still fighting the Covenant? It's brought up once by the Chief at the beginning that the war is supposed to be over, but quickly dropped and never brought up again. What they did do right is by the Master Chief. They took the risk of having him talk,
I thought we had a truce with the Covenant.
which can be risky if done wrong, but here they do it right. While he has a voice and some conversation here, his yammering does, including action scenes with Cortana, which actually lets them build a bit more chemistry, and that is what the game is putting into its story on is the relationship between the two. It seems that AIs like Cortana have a lifespan shorter than a dog. After their 8th year, they go through something called rampancy and basically think themselves to death. Cortana is starting to show symptoms of that and will soon break down unless the Chief can get her back to Earth and have someone fix her if it is possible. The relationship between the two is striking, as it does call back the fact that the Chief was basically kidnapped at a young age and turned into a super soldier whose only real friend has been a computer AI, and he can be a bit more antisocial with people, having Cortana mentioning that they need to find out which one of the two is the real machine. Also, as part of the story is that 4 years have gone by during the time skip. New Spartans have been created, this time from ordinary soldiers that have volunteered to wear the armor. And he's now kind of looked down upon because of the whole kidnap thing and just being outdated. Having the only person who is out of time by just a touch is also losing her mind is shown very well, and it's definitely hard on the Chief. The new characters, especially Lasky, are pretty decent by and large. The gameplay in Halo 4 is actually really good. One of the things I like is there's more nav points now, so the game is pretty good at telling you where to go next, and it's not really easy to get lost in these linear stages, so that's a good thing. Again, all the Halo basics are still here, no life bar but recharging shields, and they got rid of the health packs completely again, which is a much needed plus. Also, only 2 weapons can be held, and the enemy AI is still pretty decent. The stage designs are very beautiful to look at and stand out very well. They're not always the best the series has seen, but they're still pretty good. Overall, I would probably say this is one of the best games of the series with that overall stage designs. As for enemies go, the Covenant army has shrunk to what you pretty much got in the original Halo games. You pretty much only got the grunts, the jackals, and the elites. You have no brutes and you have no bugs. But you do have to now contend with something called the Prometheans, who have joined the side of the Covenant. Here you got 3 types of these pests. These dogs that can go quickly and even climb on walls, little flying ones that are support type craft, and then these knights, which are a real big pain to take down sometimes. But these guys come with their own weapons. They're still not as good as the human guns, but they're a lot better than the Covenant ones, and they are a lot of fun to use. The single-player campaign is rather lengthy compared to Halo 3 and Reach, lasting a few more hours between the two, and there are a few nice side activities like the Star Fox X stage towards the end. All in all, I had a good time with Halo's 4 single player campaign. It's not the same experience as the Bungie ones, but there was a lot of love put into it, and it's definitely worth checking out. The graphics in this game are a bit of a mixed bag. No, it's not that they aren't well done or that they don't run smoothly. There are environments in this game that are simply terrific, and the character models for the humans are really top notch. The art style for some of the Covenant are not too great, however, and I'm not a big fan of how the grunts look. They now look like they're some kind of deformed shark, and it makes them look a little bit too goofy. And the new look for Cortana goes way too far on not only in sexualizing a cartoon character, but also in crossing the uncanny valley. She just looks weird, which is kind of unfortunate because, again, it's the relationship between her and the Master Chief that is central to the campaign story. Overall, the graphics are well done, with the exception of a few bizarre art choices. The music in this game is still top notch and enjoyable to listen to, and the voice acting, especially by Jin Taylor, who has to do Cortana, who has always been this strong and cool character, who is now literally breaking down as she's, well, breaking up. Overall, the sound is really good. If there's one thing I do have to complain about is I don't like the grunts no longer seem to chatter in English, and the squeals are now left out, and it leaves out some of the humor of just delivering beatdowns on these little rascals. The maps and the gameplay of Halo 4 are quite well preserved and upgraded here. I played quite a few games of this online on the Master Chief Collection. Unfortunately, some of the stat keeping seems to be non-existent compared to the original Xbox 360 version. I wish the Master Chief Collection had some kind of more uniformed leveled up system that was easier to understand. They kind of just pudged them all in hodgepodge, and it really does hurt Halo 4's online. Then there is also a Spartan's Op mode. This is a lot more fun than Firefight when you're playing with friends online. There's basically a bunch of online missions to fight against the computer bad guys, and they are a real blast. The original Halo 4 had a movie to go with this mode. I couldn't find it on the disc, but I'm willing to bet it's connected to that god-awful Halo channel. My thoughts on the Master Chief Collection is this. After fully playing through the Master Chief Collection, is it the failure everyone says it is? No. It offers everything it promises. All the games are here. They are remastered and look gorgeous, and a lot of time and love went into remastering Halo 2 to make it look gorgeous, and that includes redoing the cutscenes, and the game is worth picking up just for that. But that said, the buggy and large installation patch and just some bugs when it comes to getting some of the extras just makes it a bit of a pain. And then there is the online problems. The problem isn't that the matchmaking, which is complaint worthy by the way, but it's far from being terrible, but the whole way it's set up. All 4 Halos are different in the ways they are scoring and the way they are connecting people together, and having it just being a hodgepodge like this is a terrible way to show it off. There's no common ranking system nor scoring system for online settings, so there's no leveling up, at least as far as I could tell. Still, the online maps are here, and there are some fun if you have the patience to wait a little bit longer than usual to connect. Overall, it's a good game that could have been a really stellar game and set the mark on how these remastered collections could have been. But because it's not, it's kind of its biggest flaw and its biggest sin is that it just isn't great when it really, really should have been and could have been. My score for Halo 4 by itself is probably about a 4 out of 5. It does a lot of things right. It does get a few things wrong. Some of the art direction I didn't like, especially when it comes to the way Cortana looks. She looks a little bit too weird for me, and just a few of the small changes keeps it from being a perfect game for me, but it's really fun and really worth checking out. As far as the Master Chief Collection goes, like I said, it's the fact that it's not this really, really super great, perfect game collection is its biggest sin, because it has all these bugs and faults in it, but it is still fun. I do believe I saw it for $20 now, according to the GameStop website, and it will give you several weeks of fun on a single player, and the online, even though it does have some quirks, is still worth trying. Anyways, thank you for watching this video, but there's still one more Halo first-person shooter I have yet to review. It's time to look at another game with mixed reactions. It's time to take a look at Halo 5. In the meantime, I would like to thank you for watching this video again, and if you could, please subscribe to my channel. I do video reviews mostly, but I also do editorials and a few other things on this channel.